Good morning, everyone. It's 9 a.m., so we'll get started here. I'll call the meeting to order. And just a reminder that the meeting are being recorded, so please turn on your mic when you're speaking. Down to the agenda, any amendments or additions to the agenda as presented? Seeing none, looking for a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Karen.
That the July 22nd, 2025 agenda be adopted as presented.
Thank you. Any questions on the motion? Motion is carried. Again, the agenda was sent out previously and has now been adopted. Looking for a declaration of conflict of interest. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. And I should have noted, sorry, Nicole's going to be joining by Teams, but she's got some technical difficulties, so maybe a few minutes late booking in, but she'll chime in once she gets the stuff going. So we're down to the draft meeting minutes of July 8, 2025. Again, those were in the package for review. Any comments, changes to the minutes? Looking for a motion to adopt the July 8th minutes as circulated and presented. Darren.
That the minutes of the regular meeting held on July 8th, 2025 be approved as circulated and presented.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Sarah, down to yourself on list of accounts, please.
Check 5444 to Advantage Insurance. Note that this is the new name for Balgoni Agencies. Our 2025 policy is still in place. This is just a mid-year add-on for a new piece of equipment. Check 5454 to Forthright General Contracting. This is for installation of another 121 civic addressing signs. Check 5455 to FPC Industries. This is within the $7,000 budget for the divider fence and replacement windscreen at the pickleball courts. Check 5467 to Eileen Swen. She has 2 invoices for being the Board of Revision and DAB secretary. The second invoice is entirely for the RM of Sherwood. She just broke it out since they had so many hours for that specific municipality. And check 5470 to the WCRM 158. This is remittance of wastewater connection fees, and 50% will be returned to the RM. And then over on the visa report, just point out bottom of the first page, payment to Secure Tech Monitoring. This is our annual security system fees. And then on the bottom of the second page, the Omnigo payment for CSO software. This is for the annual payment for the CSO incident reporting software that they use.
Any questions for Sarah on the list of accounts? Stephen.
Just those occupancy ones, what are those?
Paige might be able to elaborate a bit more about when they meet all the criteria. That's the refund of their occupancy deposit that they pay up front, but I'll let Paige elaborate.
Yeah, exactly what Sarah said. So when a building permit is complete and we have all the necessary documents, we refund that and subtracting any extra inspections from the building inspector off that as well.
Looking for a motion to acknowledge the list of accounts. Tim.
That the list of accounts consisting of check number 5444 to 5470, other payments number 200 to 216, credit card payments number 18 to 19, and FT payments totaling $356,634.47, plus June 29th to July 12th payroll totaling $58,523.75 be approved for payment.
Thank you. Any questions on the list of accounts on the motion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried.
Okay, the next item I have is just the bank reconciliations for June. There's no unusual reconciling items, just the usual outstanding deposits and checks.
Questions on the bank reconciliations? Looking for a motion?
That the June 2025 bank reconciliations be acknowledged as presented.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried.
And then I'll carry on with the financial reporting for June. So on the statement of financial activities on the revenue side, we had $357,000 for the Q2 utility billing, $248,000 for the municipal revenue sharing grant, and this is installment 104 that we'll receive, and then $33,000 of interest revenue, $6,000 of which is non-cash accrual on outstanding accounts receivable, and $27,000 cash interest on our cash and investment balances. And then on the expense side, we had $141,000 of dust control. This will be charged back to applicants in accordance with the dust control application or their haul agreement, and those invoices did go out on July 11th. We had $232,000 for gravel crushing, $213,000 for our annual road loan payment, and I'll just note that that loan is now fully paid off in 2025, and $33,000 for our annual library fees, and that's the last installment for this year. Then I've just summarized a list of the cash expense items that are over budget as of the end of June. Overall, we have $96,000 over budget on specific line items out of $18.8 million. So that's less than 1% over budget, and administration is managing any budget overages in other accounts. Then I've summarized the equipment and machinery repairs as of the end of June. So right now we're sitting at about $158,000 out of $284,000 budget, which is 56% of total budget. So that's right on track for half of the year. I've summarized the capital projects where those are at. And then lastly, the statement of financial position as of the end of the month. Our cash position is $591,000 lower than the end of May due to cash collections being less than payments made during the month. Our municipal taxes receivable is $61,000 lower than the end of May due to taxes collected during the month and partially offset by interest added on to outstanding accounts. And our other receivables balance is $314,000 higher than the end of May, and that's primarily due to that Q2 utility billing going out.
Thank you. Questions for Sarah?
This is more of a question perhaps for Clark or Rod, but can you go back to equipment repairs? Yeah. Do we have a standard policy at which point we go, we're spending too much on the maintenance and therefore it's time to ditch this equipment?
Yeah, we pretty much review that at the end of every year. Once we see what the total year expenditures are on the piece of equipment. So yeah, we do that. Yeah.
But to answer your question, we don't have a formal policy for fleet replacement, but it is just based on, understanding what the equipment is and how much problems, how much downtime that we have.
So if I could maybe ask, and you said, Rod, we do that at the end of the year, given that we're going to be starting our budgeting here shortly, if that's something that we can consider looking at sooner rather than later?
Yeah, great point. I think Rod has indicated that, he said end of year, but usually that is in preparation for a budget. Yeah.
Other questions? You looking for a motion to accept the statement of financial activities and financial position as circulated and presented? Carmen.
That we acknowledge the statement of financial activities and financial position for June 2025 as circulated and presented.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay. Clark, we're up to, I guess Rod's sitting in there today. Sorry, a little shorter there.
Morning, council. Yes, a smaller version. Okay, I guess just to go over real quick, we started graveling. B&D contracting has moved in. They started on, I think last Friday. They'll be working straight through on the weekend. Also, Fry's Tallman Lumber is starting today on the cold storage building as well. Crosswalk and stop bar painting, you'll see the guys out today. Still a couple days left to do of that. We should finish that up by Wednesday. We'll get out to hot mix pothole patching on Thursday this week with the full crew. And we'll continue next week as well too if we need to. Top cut, we're probably close to about, I would say maybe 45%, sort of thing. So we've just got one more going right now. We have another seasonal employee starting next week. So we'll get 2 more going and hopefully get that wrapped up in the next 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks. Civic addressing signs, of course, are continuing as well. Pickleball fence has been erected. We ordered some safety guards for that. The contractor is going to come back the next week here to lower the fence, sort of thing, because I guess there's a few balls still kind of sneaking underneath at the right opportune moment or at the right way, sort of thing. So we'll get that back. Our turbidity levels in the water plant are back to normal. We've contacted McPherson Engineering, one of the few consultants that is willing to look into us for the air exchanger sometime this fall. But most of the consultants are just flat out swamped right now. So it'll be later in September, probably likely October. We'll continue with the gate valve maintenance. We're probably about 40% complete. Jason will continue doing that for the next couple of weeks. Tenders closed on South Plains Road low pressure system, as well as the water line for the Balgonie. We have separate reports for that. Fleet management, nothing to report there. We do have 2 more pieces of equipment to dispose of this year. One is the Cascada power unit. We're going to get that cleaned up here in the next week and get that in August. And then the mini that's in the urban shop here, we'll get that cleaned up as well too in the month of August for sale in September. And that's about it. Pretty much completed all of the Emerald Ridge sports field. That was done on July 3rd. The Rock Point drainage, we're still waiting to hear back on that. That Rock Point drainage is some ditch work that needs to be done. This is good work to do in later in the fall, like October, even first couple of weeks in November if there's no snow. And the wood park plantings have all been installed and all the mulch has been placed.
Rod, you mentioned that you can lower the fence at the pickleball courts. I'm wondering, is it possible to do it at the dog park? I was there yesterday and there's quite a few areas along especially the south side where there's probably 6 inches of space underneath.
Yeah, those posts were not concreted in, so they continue to move up and down with the wetness of the soil. So that's very easy for us to do. Yeah.
Okay.
We can definitely look into that. So
thanks. Yeah. Other questions for Rod?
So on that Rock Point drainage there, I'd sent to you and Clark some information about potentially using some LiDAR to assist with drainage issues. I'm not sure if you've seen that, but the organization's willing to do it gratis to just get some experience with the RMs. But that might be useful in terms of using it to help. So if you could follow up on that, that'd be great.
Sure.
$624. We got spanked on social media quite a bit once we pulled the shoulders and then had 1.5 inches of rain, and had quite a few complaints, and like I say, social media really spanked us. But there was kudos so too. I was really glad that the gravel haulers got out on Friday and before we had any more rain and actually got the gravel placed down and a lot of gravel on her. It looks good. One ratepayer did call and said with the guys hauling the gravel, he was really impressed on how they would all slow right down when they'd meet any cars and stuff, and he said they were very, very courteous drivers and stuff. So he wanted to make note of that. On 734, the dust control that the ratepayer had put down, the canola oil, was graded over, and he had called me just when the grader had gone over and said like, what's going on? So I had talked to Derek, and Derek said it wasn't on the dust control site or the map. So if you can make sure that it's on that dust control, because Evan went and sprayed it again, and he said it's got dust coming already. So he said, I'm going to spray it again. He said, I got the product here, so I'm going to spray it. And I said, well, I'll figure out how much it is and then send us the bill because it's our screw up. But I really hope that that is going to be on that map so that isn't done again.
Yeah, Derek's got the map. So like Derek fills out the map, whatever. So yeah, I don't know what happened. The operator called me right after he did it. He apologized. He just wasn't aware or just wasn't paying attention sort of thing. So he apologized for it. So he didn't realize. But they were aware that that guy was spraying on his own. So I think the problem is because the canola doesn't look like the mag. The magnesium is definitely darker. So it's a darker color. It looks like it's wet. But he didn't notice it until he drove through it. So yeah.
I have to admit that canola oil actually is standing up very well on that site there. Even in the rains and stuff, it was holding together pretty good compared to some of the mag chloride sites are rougher than old heck. But again, it's the nature of the product, and especially if you get 1.5 to 2 inches of rain on it, and yeah, it's gonna get, and actually the canola wasn't greasy either, which I was surprised. Usually, in the past, I always found that if we have a big rain event and stuff, it gets kind of greasy. Well, this isn't the case with this one, so I don't know. It's something to look at, I guess, for long term. Supposedly 2 applications on it, and then you should be good for a 5-year stretch, is what they're saying. So, in saying that, what's happening with the compressor test site there?
We are there today to fill in all the potholes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they going to respray it then, or?
Yeah, they're going to come out and take a look at it once we're done.
I was by there on Saturday and the potholes were significant.
Yeah, they're bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
I noticed that as far as getting the water certification, Brody was not successful in passing his exams.
Unfortunately, no.
So is he going to be retaking that, or?
Yeah, he can re-challenge at any time. So yeah. Yeah, I want to sit down with him, Jason and I, and we'll probably do some tutoring or something like that sometime this fall. So.
Other questions for Rod? Looking for a motion to accept the Public Works biweekly report as presented. Tim?
Yeah, that we accept the Public Works report as presented.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried.
If you don't mind, retrainer, if we can skip down to maybe the chlorine analyzer first, and then we'll deal with the other 2 tenders afterwards.
Absolutely.
Okay. So report number 25-18. So we've gone to a different type of pre-treatment. Now we've got rid of our potassium permanganate as a pre-treatment with our raw water. We are treating with chlorine. Chlorine is activating the iron and manganese in the water before it hits the filter. However, we had an incident a little while ago, first week of May, where our line was plugged and our chlorine levels just dropped overnight because we filled about a third of the reservoir with raw water that had no chlorine in it. Filtered water, but and that was sort of a bit of an issue. We do have a monitor on the pump to make sure that it's still on and to make sure that when the barrel is low and it can't pick up any more chlorine, it'll shut off. But we don't have a mechanism to see that we have chlorine going into our raw water into our filter. So it's a dangerous situation. We need to mitigate that risk of that happening again. We still had levels of chlorine because we are pre-treating. We're getting a better residual of chlorine afterwards. So luckily that the chlorine level was not below the minimum level. So we still had chlorine in our filtered water. We added chlorine, but it was sort of a bit of a wake-up call that we need to make sure that we're monitoring to make sure that there's chlorine at all time in the pre-treatment process, sort of thing. So we recommend that we put an analyzer on there so that it's monitoring, so that we know that it's going. And if there is no chlorine being detected in that raw water before it hits the filter, it stops the wells right now and sends us an alarm, and we come out here and we fix it. So we either unplug the line, or maybe it's even a pump fault that could be it. So it's a displacement pump. It just keeps pumping. And if the line's plugged, the pump will just keep on pushing it. Even if there's nothing going through, it'll continue to just operate, sort of thing. So this is a bit of a safety feature that we need to mitigate any risk to ensure that if the line does become plugged. We do clean that line every month. We might do it as a weekly thing, but it's a plastic line. We can get some contamination in the chlorine in the barrel as well too. So it's more of a safety feature that we need to analyze, and it is a very costly piece of equipment. It's about the analyzer itself is probably about $6,000, plus it has to get shipped in. So the price for $17,000 is to make sure that we get it hooked up. It's mostly labor, and then we get it on our SCADA system, so we can see live monitoring on our phone that we have chlorine going in there. If something happens and comes up on our phone, we can get out here right away and get it fixed, and we don't run into that same situation. Right now, financially, we are about a little bit less. Well, we're a little bit less than our budget right now for capital improvements in the water section. We did some pipe replacements in there. We were about $6,000 lower than budget, and we haven't done any of that air exchanger work yet. So I'm hoping that we can maybe take some of that money from that air exchanger line item that we had for $70,000 and use $12,000 of that to purchase this equipment. Now, it's about a 6-week delivery time frame to get this analyzer from the States, sort of thing. So it'll probably won't get installed until probably late September, sort of thing. So, or probably late August, early September. Attached is a quote. Or I guess there is no attached quote.
It's on there. It's just separated out on the agenda.
Oh, I see. That's right. Yeah. So there's a attached quote from Alpha Automation. They're the guys who do all of our automation in our water plant right now. So travel distance on site, the analyzer. There's a bit of programming he has to do to go back to the PLC and then program it back into our SCADA system. So I phoned him last week. He sent this when I was away on vacation. So I asked him if his price was still good, and he said it is. So.
Yeah, comments, council, on the request? Darren?
Yeah, I just, by sounds of it, it's gonna help you guys from driving there and checking stuff and be more consistent on the chlorine and everything. So I mean, if that's the case, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, it's like just mitigating risk, right? We just don't want to, not have any chlorine in our water as it's entering in the filter sort of thing. So yeah, definitely.
I just want to add, this report did go to the Asset Management Committee, and the Asset Management Committee recommended that the council proceed with purchasing this.
Yeah, I think the fact that you can take it out of another area of the budget on it, and it's getting close to, as Carmen had said, to budget time for next year already. I would, as Darren said, I would support the purchasing of the analyzer.
Just out of curiosity, what time frame is the air exchange? Are we still looking at trying to do that this year then too, or?
Yeah, we'll have to get them to design it for that room space, whatever. So we can proceed with the design, and once we get the design, then we'll have, from the mechanical engineer, then we'll have to start sourcing out the equipment, how much the equipment is to purchase, and then sourcing out a contractor. So even he had said that he won't be able to get here till like the end of September, early October. So at best case, we're probably not going to be doing that work until November, and maybe even later, depending on if a contractor is available to do it. So it might be an item that gets pushed back into 2026 anyway, just on time frame. And
yeah, that's all I was,
yeah,
that we're taking money out of it, and then all of a sudden it's going to come back to haunt us in October, November, and say, oh well, now we're going to go over budget.
Yeah, we can hold off on any purchases or any work sort of thing, but we do need to get the design done for the space, whatever. So I think we should proceed with the design. The design would probably only be about $10,000 of that 70,000. So, and then we could source out the equipment. We might even be able to purchase the equipment, have it on site, and then get it in 2026 to install it. So.
I just want to comment that I think this is exceptionally important. We don't need to be another Walkerton, and that's important from a chlorine perspective. And I have a whole home reverse osmosis. Same thing happens. The chlorine plugs up, and you don't notice it. So I'm fully supportive of this.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve the purchase of the chlorine analyzer. Stephen.
That the RM accept a quotation from Alpha Automation Limited for $17,819.52 for the installation of a chlorine analyzer as per their quotation dated June 10th, 2025.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, you want to go back to the raw?
Okay, we'll go back to the raw water line. Yes. Okay, so we had tenders that closed on both the raw water line. Why isn't that recorded? Okay, Balgonie raw water line. Of course, this was a budgeted item that we put into the budget for the 2025. Again, this was brought to the committee meeting last week. We had a total of 9 bidders that were received, and MPE Engineering had did a recommendation, or had listed that the lowest compliant bid was provided by Castle Oilfield Construction. They're a company out of Virden, Manitoba. They haven't done any work in the RM, and it was the first time I'd heard of this company, but they have done some past projects in the province and have done similar work in Manitoba. The committee feels, though, that we should award it to a contractor who's paying taxes in the RM and would be available right away if should there be any warranty work or work that needed to be done. And of course, Virden is about 3 hours away, sort of thing. So we did. The tender price was $312,500. The budget we have right now is 450, but 450 also includes engineering. We have spent about, I think, close to about $13,000, I believe, on engineering. But there will be more engineering costs with this tendering process, and of course with inspection and during construction. So we have a couple of options. Again, we could cancel the project and retender with a scoring system, but that would have to be like an RFP to give more weight to local contractors, sort of thing. But we thought we should probably review this with the consultant, see if there's any legal implications. And of course, we did reach out to our legal as well too, so they have a letter that Shauna will be able to share with us. We could retender this project or delay it, and by retendering it, we may delay it, is what I'm trying to say, I guess, because we went through all this whole process. So the conclusion is that even though the lowest compliant bid is approved with the budget, the recommendation was to award it to KMS, the second lowest bidder, in the amount of $312. And of course, the attachment of MPE has a summary and an analysis along with that as well too. So we can bring that up.
So I'll just follow up to Rod's introduction here. We did follow up with MPE. All bids were compliant. Therefore, the lowest bidder was a compliant bidder. We followed up with legal counsel, and they had indicated that since the tender was a tender, our purchasing policy does not allow us to go outside of awarding it to a local contractor. So awarding it to a second lowest bidder opens the RM up to potentially a lawsuit. So they do not recommend awarding it to the second lowest. They recommend awarding it to the lowest compliant bidder.
Yeah, as soon as I read this too, I was, red flags were coming up right away. Boy, we started doing that. And, oh, by the way, we're only going to look at people in the area, ratepayers and of the project, unless that's in the proposal. We cannot do that because I'm pretty sure that there would be some legal ramifications for it. So I'm all for giving it to the person that had the lowest bid, because that's how we designed it.
Right. So as Rod had indicated, we could decide to not award the tender and then do an RFP for the work. There's a risk to that as well. It will delay the project. Also, given that there were 9 bidders, you may not get favorable pricing. You may not even get as many bidders. So there is a risk all around to that.
And really, warranty work for this relocation, it's not going to be a 5-minute fix if there is warranty work anyways. So the person is 3 hours away or whatever it is what it is. You got warranty work on it, you got to fix it, you're going to have to mobilize and get down here. So no, I seen red flags as soon as it was proposed that we do the second bidder. I think we need to do the lowest bidder and work with them.
I go back to the contract. Is there anything on the contract stating that the lowest tender not necessarily accepted?
Yeah, I believe that line is in all of our tenders. Yeah.
So then why would our legal people tell us that we can't do that? Give it to the second bidder.
Because there was no evaluation criteria as part of the tender. So anybody submitting a tender would have not known that they would have to comply with a certain component. So if we put this out as an RFP where there is an evaluation criteria, we could weight each of the proposals based on the criteria that we put on them, but that wasn't part of the tender package originally.
Then I look at this as lessons learned, then therefore I think we should retender it. And like the local people do support the municipality, they support everything here. And I don't think it's right that we should be sending our work out of province even. I could see it being, if it was a Saskatoon or some other person, I can live with that, but I don't believe it should be sent to another province. And I believe we should be retendering at this time. That's my comment.
Just for clarity, it wouldn't be a tender. It would be a request for proposal. So a little bit of a different procurement tool.
But still, whatever we do, I think we should redo it and inform the bidders that this is what it is. And I'm quite sure that now that they're open, I'm quite sure that the prices aren't going to change a whole lot. Anyway, that's just my opinion on it.
I got to agree with Tim on it. I think doing an RFP, we're indicating that we're just shopping for specific people to do the work. And I understand what you're saying, Stan. It would be good to have a local person or a local company do the work, for warranty sake and stuff. But as Tim said, this type of work, if it's a warranty, it's going to be a significant mobilization anyway. And as you said, a lesson learned that perhaps we should have went with an RFP on it to use the scoring system, but we didn't. And I think it would be improper to retender it simply because we were prefer to have a local company do the work. So I got to agree with Tim on this one.
And I want it noted that I disagree. Okay. I think that that's not right. I mean, the contractor that won this contract or didn't win it, he comes second bidder. All his employees work in the municipality. That's number one, and he supports the municipality, and also he does a lot of work for the community. And I'm quite sure the people from Manitoba are not going to do that. I think it's worth something. The next thing is work after, not just the work on that particular job, but we have other failures coming up constantly, and all you do is dial the phone and he comes. And because we have a local contractor, I think that's got to be worth a lot to the municipality. And if we ignore that, then I think that's a bad move. But anyway, I just disagree with going to the first bidder. I believe we should go for the second bidder. And I want that noted.
Stan, I just want to note that we don't document discussion in the minutes. If you would like, you can request a recorded vote, and then we will record as part of the minutes how each councillor voted. Okay? If you would like to do that, you can request a recorded vote on the question.
Okay, then I request a recorded vote on this item.
We don't have a motion on the floor yet, Stan, so we'll have to wait till we have a motion.
I have a couple of comments, I guess. Well, one's a question. If we go into retendering, or sorry, not retendering, doing an RFP on this, what does that do to the timeline, and what is the implications for what Balgonie is trying to achieve here? And
I'll maybe ask Rod to respond to that, but it will definitely delay the timeline. I don't know. I'm not sure if any mobilization or any work would be able to start in 2025, but likely not, depending on the fall. And then with regards to impact to Balgonie, I don't believe that there's any impact to Balgonie because this is just us moving the line. So, but I'll ask Rod to follow up with that.
Yeah, the line that currently is there can still stay there for another year. You know, we're not into that area of the pit just yet. But the next move that we move into the pit, we're going to be right beside it, sort of thing. So right now it's got cover, earth cover on it. So if we delay it, we're probably going to have to go back to the consultant. We'll have to do an RFP. That'll probably take them a few weeks to get that out, and then we'll have another 2 to 3 week waiting period, and then another award. So we're looking at losing probably at least 6 weeks And then once you award it, contractors might already have work right up to the end of 2025. So it might be a spring project then. Yeah.
Thank you for that. I guess the other comment I have is around, we seem to have a bit of a loose approach, not loose approach, a preference to either businesses that are paying taxes or ratepayers or are involved in the community. And I think it's important that we actually, if that's our intention, which I don't disagree with, I think that's a great support our local ratepayers. I think we need to make that as part of our evaluation criteria as a weighted element, no different than you do with other RFPs. If that's our intention, then let's be clear about it and put it in our documentation.
So we do, for any RFPs that we put out, a tender is a different procurement tool than a request for proposal. So a tender doesn't have evaluation criteria. It's usually weighted on whether they meet the, I guess, the contractor criteria and based on price. So all of the bids were compliant bids. They were able to provide bid bonds, insurance, whatnot. So they were compliant with what we were asking, but they aren't weighted against each other for community benefit or local presence. So that's the difference with an RFP, is you can weight that, and you can have a weighting where price may not be the most important to council. It might be more important, or maybe just as important, 50% price and 50% local. So yes, that's the tool that you can use to make sure you're supporting local economy.
I guess the other comment I would have is there is a huge variation on the costing. Like the pricing is just all over the map, which is really puzzling to me. So I don't know why, like I'm not evaluating it, of course, but that strikes me as perhaps another reason that we should do an RFP.
Stan, I don't disagree with most of what you've said on there, but we didn't do an RFP on it, which would have had waiting for local people. I believe it's 25% of the waiting, if I remember correctly. Pricing is 50%. So, but with our, I think we would be getting ourselves into a possible legal situation if we were just not to proceed with the tender as we've put out, and that was our intent at the time on it. I don't think it's worth the risk. And what do we do if, for example, we do tender it or do an RFP and a local contractor isn't the lowest? Are we going to do it again? I think we need to stick with our plan with it as lessons learned that we should have went with an RFP, but I feel strongly we need to stick with our first intention and go with the lowest bid.
Again, I'm all for trying to have local as much as we can, but again, I think lesson learned that we'll have to start redoing when instead of tendering, we'll have to do the other route, and that way we can have it set up. But I think this one, for the what is it, $14,000, $13,000 difference. Unfortunately, I think we'll have to stick with it. That would be my way of looking at it. And I guess I can make the motion if you want it. Where is it? That the RM accepts the lowest tender provided by Castle Oilfield Construction Limited for 330. Okay. Yeah, $334,481.85. And also requesting a recorded vote.
So that's not part of the motion. No, it's just, so the motion and then if, yeah.
That's 301, 335, Karen, is the base bid. They pay less taxes in Manitoba.
Okay, we kind of did this backwards instead of having, we've had the discussion and then the motion, but that was my fault, so I apologize on that. But looking for further discussion on the motion.
Yeah. As Carmen said, the various prices and everything, is it even reality for the lowest bid to get it done properly? Or are they going to be cutting corners? Is it, they're going to run out of money?
Yeah, well, I mean, I worked in construction. It depends on how busy they are right now. They may not have any work. They may have guys sitting around. They may be taking a loss on their labor costs. Definitely not going to take a loss on their material costs. Or maybe they even have material in stock that's already at the same specified for the design for the project. So a lot of factors come into construction. When guys put in bids, when I see a high bid that's twice as much, they don't need the work. They're just putting it in there hoping that somebody else, or there isn't as many bidders. That's kind of the reality with construction. It's based on how busy they are at the time and when they can fit that project into their workflow or whatever. So maybe they're even doing a job in Regina, right before or right afterwards, and they're just like, hey, we're going to be right there. We'll, take away a mobilization and demobilization costs. So, to move all your equipment and all your stuff here might cost $20,000, $50,000. But if you have two projects going at the same time and you can piggyback on them, you've just saved $50,000. So.
Yeah, and like I've kind of, similar business as well, and and I've seen where, say the one does better work than the other too, and you can see it when they're doing stuff. So I don't know what's in our contract or anything to,
Again, you're absolutely right. I mean, we have no experience with the lowest bidder. That is a risk, but everything that we ask for, all bids are compliant with. So we have talked to MPE. They have worked with this contractor before and they've done good work.
Okay.
But that is a valid concern. But our tender does not wait on references or anything like that.
Okay.
You could do that with an RFP.
Just a couple of comments. First thing, is timing or was timing a factor in this tender?
Yes, the project had to be completed in 2025.
Was one of the factors.
Yep. Yeah, it said right in there that the construction has to be done this year. Yep.
Okay. And just of note, earlier this year, we did a tender with fuel, and I think the RM ran into a few problems with that. So again, lessons learned. We didn't learn our lesson, obviously, from that tender, and now we've basically ran into the same problem, right? And if we've got in our tender the lowest price is not necessarily accepted, that obviously carries no weight, having that in the tender.
From both MPE's legal advice and our independent legal advice, no, because it was a compliant bidder. We would then be contravening the new West Trade Agreement, which if there can't be any discrimination. So if they're compliant, they're compliant.
But we can still do an RFP on this because it doesn't have to be done this year.
If council wishes to cancel this tender and RFP it, they can do that. As I had indicated to Tim, there is a risk that if they see a project that was similar to one that was posted through a different procurement tool, you may get not favorable pricing, you may not get other bids, but those are just some risks. It may not happen, but that is a risk.
Right now with that line being where it is, because we just had a gravel crush and everything, I take it next year we're not going to probably be excavating too much. Is there any risk to that line for freeze up or anything like that as sits right now?
I believe so. Right now, I think we're okay. It won't freeze. I don't think we haven't exposed it with our gravel crush we just did. So I think we're good. I'd have to double check on that though. We do have it staked out. We'll have to go take a look at it, but I'm pretty sure we're okay. But and we won't be crushing gravel next year. We'll be probably crushing gravel the year after. We will probably tender in 2026 for the gravel crush to be done in winter of 2027. So, but I think we're okay. I'll have to double check with Derek on that one.
But the next thing, this could be installed in the wintertime too, like, and just be forwarded to next year's budget. Because if they start in November, they would probably get that finished by fall. Because the frost won't be down that far. That's just my comment. Working with construction previously, yeah.
I just want to, what was the rationale with going with a tender versus an RFP?
I think we're just following the newest trade partnership agreement because the construction value is over $200,000. Similar with the fuel budget, if you purchase goods more than $75,000, you have to go through the newest trade partnership agreement and tender it. Or
But can we not, like, I'm familiar with the new West
yep,
trade
well,
thing, but
we can go to an RFP, like Shauna said. So,
but I guess what I'm asking,
just a different process.
right? But what was the rationale to do a tender initially rather than an RFP?
That'd be a Clark question.
I'm going to say I don't know,
Yeah.
but I'm going to guess that a tender is the common practice for the Arm of Edenwold as a procurement tool. An RFP process is more involved. There is a lot more, there's evaluation, there's a weighting. You have to make sure that you're being fair in how you're setting your evaluation. You have to review each of the proposals from, that scoring sheet. So it's just more involved. I don't think it's something that is commonly used here at the RM. Not saying that we shouldn't be using it. It's just something that hasn't been.
I guess where I'm coming from is what Karen said, is that this is the second time that it's come up, and perhaps we should be looking at what is the appropriate procurement tool given what we want to do as a municipality.
That's great feedback, and we'll be looking at that going forward.
Would we need to make a policy then for that?
Nope, this is good enough. There may be a little bit increased cost for like our consultants for the work, but I can't see it being significantly material.
Stan, you want to make a comment before call the vote?
Well, as long as it's going to be recorded.
Can you
Okay.
bring up the motion?
We'll just update it and all that, and I'll put it on the screen.
So I gather we're not going to RFP it.
We're going to have a vote, Stan, on motion that's on the floor.
Okay.
To proceed with the lowest. Okay, just so everybody's clear, the motion is on the screen, and Councilor or Kapner-Hurst has requested recorded vote. So if there's no more
Sorry,
Okay.
Karen or Sarah, we need to, that we accept the lowest tender for the price before taxes. So it's 3. Okay, just so council knows that, okay, just so council knows the numbers will be a little bit different. You won't see 334, 481. It'll be the pre-tax number plus taxes because the RM does receive PST.
That is in the detail from MNP or MPE, I think.
Okay, the amended amount or the amount before taxes is in the motion 301 and 335. Before we call the vote, any other comments on the motion? We'll go start with Division 1. How do you vote?
Against.
Division 2. Division 2.
Yep, I'm against it.
Division 3 is, are you there, Nicole? No. Okay. Division 4.
Against.
Division 5.
Against.
Division 6.
I'm not going to vote against my motion, so I'm voting for it.
Division 7.
Against.
And Reeve 4. Motion is lost.
Do we have to make a motion now to put this to RFP? I can do that.
Okay. Councilor Leibel.
I need some help with some wording. That the RM issue an RFP for the Balgony raw water line.
Okay. Sarah typing it up, Karen? Okay. Okay, the motion is on your screen. Question, comments on the motion?
So I guess that's, we just have to make sure that the criteria is going to be in there for that, local ratepayers or whatever are going to get preferential for it, which I think is good. I've got no problem with it at all. It's just doing the other way. I think we're going to be opening ourselves up legally. So this way might delay the project a little bit, but I think we can accomplish what we're hoping for, and as far as the RM goes.
We might even, given the wide variation of the quotes that came in, we might actually see a more favorable pricing. It's a risk, like you said, Shauna, but if we acknowledge that it's not going to be done until 2026, then that might be helpful to us.
Other comments? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried.
Okay, we'll go to the low pressure South Plains Road. Low pressure line. And this is going to be very similar to the last one with the raw water line. So the committee recommended going to the second low bidder. Again, the low bidder was Castle Oilfield Construction from Bird, Manitoba. This project is with the lowest, even with the lowest bid price, the project is over budget We had only budgeted $330,000, including engineering. To date, we've spent pretty close to 27,000 on engineering. And with the lowest bid being at 318 plus taxes, the budget's definitely going to go over. The project's definitely going to go over budget. This project was to be a recoup, I believe, from the ratepayers that are going to tie in. So it's it just means that it'll be more cost to each one of those individual lot owners to connect to the low pressure sewage collection system. Again, we have our options are to cancel and retender it as an RFP. We could even decrease the scope of work. We could decrease the service connections, eliminate some of those. That would lower the cost of the project as well too.
Okay, looking for a motion so we can discuss further.
I'll make it in my division.
Okay, Stan?
That the RM accept the second lowest tender provided by AMS Construction Limited in the amount of $318,575 plus taxes for the South Plains Road low pressure sewer line system project, I should say.
Okay, we're in the same situation as the previous motion. At the same, personally, I have the same concerns with it, not awarding to the lowest bidder, especially since it puts us over budget is another thing I think that's towards it. And we're all over the place with decisions here. You know, if we're going to go and do an RFP on one, but go with the second lowest tender by KMS. I think that they were all over the place on our decisions here.
I also want this a recorded vote as well.
Can we see what the bids were? Can you bring those up?
Yeah, again, I have to agree. We canceled the first one. I quite frankly think this one should be canceled too, and do an RFP. Yeah.
I agree.
Other comments on the motion? Okay, we have a request for a recorded vote. Can you put the motion back up there, please? Okay. Any further comments, questions before I call for the vote? Okay, Division 1.
Against?
Division 2.
Against?
Division 3, are you there? No. Division 4.
Against?
Division 5. Division 6.
Against.
Division 7.
Against.
3 affirmative. The motion is lost. Sorry. Yes.
Against.
No.
You're in favor.
Favor of the motion. Oh, sorry. No, against. Sorry. Against. Yeah. Wrong terminology. Sorry. Against. Okay. Do we have another motion to discuss in regard to this this project?
I'll make it again. That the RA issue an RFP for the South Plains Road low pressure sewage project.
Okay. Questions on the motion? Discussion? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. All right. Rod, I believe you're finished.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. let's, looking for a motion to take a 15-minute recess.
I would like to
Tim.
make a motion. We have a 15-minute recess.
All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. It's 10:17, and we're down to planning and development. Paige.
Thank you. So we'll start with the OCP and zoning bylaw early stakeholder engagement summary report. So this report is a summary from our early stakeholder engagement that we've completed for the 5-year review of the zoning bylaw and OCP. Within the report, it outlines the purpose and the methods, advertising, and the key takeaways from the early stakeholder engagement. It also lists a summary of the feedback received and a breakdown of all the survey results. It also shows what we presented to the public, so the posters that were at the open houses, any comment cards that were received, and then the data, again, from the survey responses.
Okay, looking for a motion so we can discuss further. Karen.
That the official community plan and zoning bylaw review early stakeholder engagement summary report be received as information.
Thank you. Questions on the motion or the summary report as presented? Must be some questions on it. I mean, Paige does a good document, but it's not perfect.
I just have a comment. I went through the whole, like all the review and the comments and so on and so forth. And I think there's clearly some messages there. We've definitely got some work to do in various areas, but there are some messages there that yeah, we're definitely going to have to look at.
And just a reminder for council that we are having our strategic session to discuss council's input into the OCP and zoning bylaw next Tuesday morning. So if you haven't, this is pretty comprehensive. If you haven't had a chance to read it all, like, we'll forgive you. Just make sure it's read before Tuesday.
I have read it. It's quite detailed. Just remind me how many respondents there were?
"97 surveys response.
And what's the population of our RM?
4460.
4460. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to just add a note on that. I think that OCPs and zoning bylaws, this is something that the layman doesn't really understand how important an official community plan is of a community. This is really the direction setting document for our municipality, for administration to follow, for investors looking to invest. I think that the planning department has done a fabulous job with the engagement that they've done with this so far. We will be going out again after we get feedback from council. We're doing Indigenous engagement to get feedback from our Indigenous partners. Then we're going to be drafting up some policies, putting them out, saying, okay, this is what we think we heard. Is this right, wrong, or otherwise? So there's still going to be more engagement with the public. So talk to your ratepayers and tell them how important this document is, because it really is important. I mean, lots of people kind of, they put it to the side until it impacts them. If there's a development next to them, it's like, oh, I don't want that to happen here. But if it's in the document, we are bound to follow our policies. So anyways, that's just something you can share with your ratepayers.
Other comments? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried. 9.2, PD 2504.
Karen, can you bring up the plan of proposed first, please? Thanks. So I can talk it through. So we've received a subdivision application and a rezoning application for this quarter section. So on the plan of proposed, you'll see parcel B is grayed out. That parcel B right now is an existing parcel and it's zoned country residential 1. The applicant is looking to consolidate parcel B back into the quarter section and subdivide out a new parcel, which would be parcel C, and rezone it to country residential 1. So in doing so, we have to rezone the existing parcel B back to agricultural resource to consolidate it back into the quarter section. And we have to rezone parcel C from agricultural resource to CR1, country residential 1, to meet the zoning bylaw. So they're making a new parcel that's 5 acres in size and consolidating the existing parcel back into the quarter section.
I can make the motion to start the discussion.
Carmen.
Oh, I'm reading it off. I can do it there. That bylaw number 2025-16 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2019-20, known as the zoning bylaw by rezoning existing block parcel B, plan 102384165, extension 0 from country residential 1 to agricultural resource and rezoning proposed parcel C, Northwest 341617 west of the 2nd from ag resource to country residential 1 be given first reading, and that planning and development department proceeds with the public notification requirements and schedules a public hearing.
Thank you. Discussion on the motion?
Are they looking to basically, if you go back to the plan there, Karen, it kind of looks like what they're trying to do is make that C more attractive, I'll say, as far as a residential in proximity, or what's?
The application came to us because a personal, personal matter. That's the word.
Thank you.
Other questions?
I'm going to bring this up again. Brought it up at the committee meeting. The fees paid to subdivide out B were paid years ago. Now they have changed their minds, are putting it back in, and it's not up here. C? Is it called C? Yeah.
Yep, C.
So they don't, those fees just transfer. To me, that doesn't make sense. Why we're not collecting fees again? Because like it was their choice to put that initial one back in to the existing quarter and redo it. I don't know how anybody else feels about this, and I don't know if it's policy, but I just think like our servicing fees should be paid again and not transferred.
So just to answer your question, the fees for the application are not being refunded. So it's the servicing agreement fees so there was a subdivision and then it's not being subdivided. So those fees would essentially be refunded. And then there would be new fees, which are the same fees for a subdivision of this type for the new one. So rather than refunding on the parcel B subdivision and charging for the parcel C subdivision, we're just transferring those fees from parcel B to parcel C. Now, the cost for administration, the time, that is not part of the servicing agreement fees. That is a separate fee, and those were collected on both subdivisions and are not being refunded for parcel B.
So what?
But the subdivision it's being reversed, so it's being consolidated. What does our policy say about that page?
I'd have to check off the top of my head. I'm not sure. Also, we don't charge for someone to build a yard site on a quarter section. Like they pay their building permit fees to build their building and their development permit fees, but there is no we don't charge a development levy.
And there is a second one with the 6,410, right? The servicing agreement fees. I don't know, to me, it just seems counterproductive that they do it, they change their minds, they want to put it back in and now start over again on a new one. I don't know. It just,
I have to read the policy a little bit more in detail in order to provide you an answer.
I don't know if I can like give you an example. So let's say there is that parcel B was subdivided. The owner of the residual parcel could come to us for a building permit and not have to pay a servicing agreement fee to build the house. There would just be the building permit costs. Now, so if you kind of reverse that thinking, there's an existing house on an existing large parcel. So we don't charge for that, right? What we're charging for is for another property. So because when we did the subdivision of parcel B, there was the opportunity to build another house on the residual parcel without a connection fee. So we have to collect it somehow. So we're just transferring it over to the new parcel. Does that help?
And just to add off that, Karen, if there were to be a subdivision of another 5-acre parcel, which they could do, country residential 1, they would have to pay. Yeah.
From my understanding, you're saying that you're going to have to refund them, right? So instead of, giving their money back and then paying you again, you're just transferring it. Yeah. So saving the hassle.
Other comments on the motion? Okay, we'll call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Page, you're done. Down to number 10, RM business. 10.1, WCRM 158 project money call number 11.
So we received the attached money call from TAEA for money call number 11. We're currently sitting at 1.77 million of 4.19 million budget. The request is for about 425,000, which falls within the remaining budget available of 2.42 million.
Looking for a motion so we can discuss further. Stan.
Okay, I'll do it. That we approve the WCRM 158 Wastewater Management Authority Project Money Call number 11, dated July 17, 2025, in the amount of $424,558.28 to meet the needs of the Phase 2 contracts.
Thank you. Questions on the motion?
Just if you can go back to the letter there, I guess for Sarah, we're still in the budget in terms of what we're expecting from them.
Along with each money call, TAEA provides a projected cash flow for the remainder of the project. So even taking into account this money call and then the 2 expected future ones, it's all within our budget.
Thank you.
We had the meeting last week too. We're pretty well on par for most of it. There was a couple of things we could anticipate of going over a little bit on budget, but majority of it is there, and it's kind of well, it'll be gratifying when we can see the end, and you can kind of see it over the horizon, and hopefully we're going to get everything the way it should be, and that we can we can start doing a little bit more construction stuff in both White City and the RM Edenwold. So.
Stan, any comments? Nope. Okay. Any other questions, comments before I call the question? Okay, all in favor? Motion is carried. 10.2 IT services.
All right. This report is being presented to council to award the IT services contract to a successful proponent. So the RM posted a negotiated request for proposal on SAS tenders with a closing date of June 27th. We had a total of 14 proponents submit a proposal. We've indicated the criteria that the proposals were evaluated on, and you will see that there's pricing, the technical expertise, quality of service and support, references and past performance, and the community proud. Preference was given to proponents that were based within the local area as described in the Census Metropolitan Area of Regina, because obviously there probably wasn't something right in the RM. So we went out to the area of Regina and surrounding areas. Of the 14 proposals submitted, 4 met all criteria listed in the NRFP. And after careful evaluation, administration recommends awarding the IT services contract to Lexcom for a 3-year term. Other options, council may choose not to award the contract, resulting in the RM continuing with the interim IT services being provided until another option is chosen, or council may recommend administration reevaluate the proposals and select a different proponent.
Looking for a motion so we can discuss further.
I can do it.
Carmen.
That we award the IT services contract to Lexcom for a 3-year term and authorize the Reeve and the Chief Administration Officer to sign the contract agreement.
Thank you. Can you give a little history on Nexcom?
On Lexcom?
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I can't give much history. They were the highest evaluated proponent. They have been in the industry for over 30 years. They have worked with multiple municipalities as well as provincial agencies. They have created some very unique IT options for municipalities with regards to notifications. Their response time was the lowest of all of them, 15 minutes, which was great. They have a team of 30 technicians, so they have a broad range of technical expertise. And typically, when the service ticket comes in, it gets allocated, but there is a large pool of expertise to pull from. I'm going to ask Sarah if there's anything else that I've missed, because we did meet with this contractor and we were very impressed with what they have done in their past with other clients and what they offer to propose for the city or for the RM. I mean.
I was just going to say that they are able to do both on-site and remote support. So if they can solve the issue remotely, they will. But if we require them to come on site to help during council meetings, or if anyone needs help with their devices, they're more than willing and able to come out. And from my perspective with Munisoft that I use day in and day out for the financials, they have a lot of experience working with Munisoft, so they're able to help us with that and work as a go-between us and Munisoft if needed.
What would be the plan for transition? Because we're currently using NGIT, correct?
That's correct. And there is an onboarding process, which you can see as part of the proposal. So there's a cost for onboarding and setup. So if this is awarded today, we will notify Lexcom and they will start with the transition process of transferring all the information, understanding all of our specific needs, transferring the information over from NGIT over to Lexcom. Effective date of full onboard would be September 1st, but they would be providing service in the interim as well.
So I was just talking with Nicole's husband, Randy, and this company worked for him. And he's saying that they're fantastic. They're great to work with. They know their technology. Really good people to work with. So, that on.
Yeah, that was the feeling that Sarah and I got when we met with them. They are willing to, and they also have a business analyst on staff as well. So they look at what we're trying to do and they'll create things for us, which I thought was great because it isn't that we're trying to be fit into a box that they already exist. They're willing to work with our needs specifically.
Well, I'm just looking at some of the, well, in particular, the NGIT, there's a lot of extras and those can really, really build up in cost. So I like the inclusionary side of things.
Will we have, like with NGIT, we had Cornell here 1 day a week, right? With this Lexcom, will we have that at all?
If we require it, so at the beginning, there will be somebody, as we discussed, there will likely be somebody here to just observe what we need as administration and council during council meetings. Like we have said, we want to switch this out as soon as possible because it isn't the most user-friendly software for conducting council meetings or any public meetings. So yes, so for the first couple meetings, there will be somebody on site, but it will be on an as-needed basis there on forward. Since I have been here, I haven't seen a real need for having an IT person here the whole time for council. Again, they are responsive. They like I said, they're in Regina. Their head office is in Regina. They can be here if they need to, or they can provide remote support as well.
As far as pricing, it's very, very close to the NGT ones that we were doing.
It is, I think it's a little bit more favorable just because of everything is included. And as Carmen had indicated, there's always extras with NGIT. This does meet our budget, our current budget. If we are going to be adding users, that may increase the cost, but that isn't in the plans.
Other comments, questions?
This, we will be over budget, right? Once you add the tax, we'll be over. I think given to what our costs have been to date, NGIT was substantially higher some months anyways, right, than the 5,800. So we probably are going to end up over budget at the end of the year. Because our budget's 70,200, right?
It's a little bit tricky with the IT budget. Like we have the line that's strictly consultant fees, but with Lexcom, like we have special projects like the server project and stuff like that. That's all built into their fee. So we'll have to break it out by the various budget line items that we have. So the total contract is more than just that IT consultant line item. Yeah.
Other questions on the motion? Comments? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried. Down to 10.3, golf course tax abatement.
Great. So this report is to determine if council would like to continue to provide the 50% abatement of municipal property taxes for the golf courses in the municipality, so Aspen Links and Green Acres, on the condition that there are no tax arrears as of August 1st, 2025. So historically, council has been providing that 50% abatement on the municipal taxes for the golf courses with that same condition that there can't be any arrears as of August 1st of each year. We provided the roll numbers that and the abatements that would be approved if there are no arrears. So another option, council may decide to adjust the abatement percentage or remove the abatement completely. But council has been providing this 50% abatement for the past 10 years. So the recommendation is stated here.
Looking for a motion so we can discuss further. Tim.
That we approve the 50% abatement of the 2025 municipal property taxes for Aspen Links and Green Acres golf courses on the condition that there is no tax arrears as of August 1st, 2025. As follows.
Thank you.
Okay.
Questions on the motion?
So we had this discussion last year as well, and Aspen Links was also in arrears. And I see that that is the case again. But they're not in arrears for all of the parcels. So remind me, they have paid up last year. What's the?
Sorry, yes, they've paid up typically right at the end of July. So because of how the wording in the motion is, they've paid up before the August 1st deadline. But these parcels they're kind of separated with different company names, so they're all kind of paid up differently. So if they pay by the end of July, they will receive the abatement.
And they are aware that they're in arrears?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Other questions, comments?
I just have a comment that I'm in favor of the 50% off or whatever. I think that these golf courses, they struggle, and I think that's good to have them around. So definitely in favor of it.
Tim, got your light on?
Is every one of these titles, like that whole list, is that all golf course property? Like that the golf course is actually on?
Yes. Yeah.
See no further questions or comments. I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried. Now to 10.4, communicate municipal tax abatement.
So this report is to see if council would like to continue to provide 100% abatement of the municipal property taxes for Communisgate and to make application to the Ministry of Education for 100% exemption of the education property taxes. So historically, council has been providing the 100% abatement of the municipal property taxes for Communisgate. And the amount is going to be for the municipal portion, $18,078. And for the school portion, it would be $27,633.44. Council, another option, council may decide to adjust the abatement percentage or remove the abatement. In the decision history, council has been providing that 100% abatement of the municipal property taxes since 2000. And in 2012 and since 2018, council has authorized administration to apply to the Ministry of Education for the 100% of the education property taxes for Communisgate, and we've been successful in receiving that.
Looking for a motion so we can discuss further. Tim.
We approve 100% abatement of the 2025 municipal property taxes for Communisgate as follows. Roll 2080, Lot 1, Block 1, Plan 84R 38664, $18,078. And further, that we authorize administration to apply the Ministry of Education for an exemption of 100% of the 2025 education property taxes for Communisgate as follows. Roll 2080, Lot 1, Block 1, Plan 84R 38664, in the sum of $27,633.44.
Thanks, Tim. Questions on the motion?
Just a comment. We've approved this for quite a few years, and I think it is a good thing for Communiscate, and I think our relationship has greatly improved with Communiscate, and I am in full support of keeping this going, because I think they help the community and surrounding community quite a bit. And yeah, I think it's a great idea to do it.
I agree with Tim.
Yeah, they're a good benefit to the RM on it, and they're the only facility that's not municipally owned. So the other ones don't have to pay taxes either. So it puts them on an even footing for competition with the other, or I shouldn't say competition, because they all work together with ice times, and the sporting teams are all from the whole community, not just the RM. The other municipalities are all joined together.
Do we, I got a question. Do we collect the 27,633.44 and then refund it if the school board accept it?
We just applied as a credit on the tax notice once we received the approval. So once they get their tax notice, it just is zero. So we don't even collect it.
Okay. But it's kind of billed out to them and unless the school refuse it. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, Stan, can you just repeat it? I missed the question, sorry.
Okay, so that amount of money, you said it's on the books. So then if the school board did not accept it this year, they have up to this point, right? So if they don't, are we on the hook for the 27,633.44, or would we have to abate that as well?
No, if they don't approve the exemption, Communiscate will have to pay it.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
But they've not refused that previously.
Sorry, correct.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, down to committee reports. Number 11, Planning and Development Committee.
So all of the reports that went to planning and development have come
We've already done them all? Okay.
There's one more that will be coming at a future date, but if there's anything else that the chair would like to add for either of these committees, please feel free to do so.
Okay.
No, there was just, like Shauna said, everything that we discussed has been brought up today. There was one other item that we'll be dealing with later on in the meeting. So that would have been it for it.
Okay. Okay. Any questions from the Planning and Development Committee? Said everything's been presented. Okay. Stephen, anything on the Asset Management Committee that we haven't covered?
No, everything was covered for the asset management that was discussed.
Thank you. Okay, down to 12, down to Council Roundtable. Darren, we'll start with you today.
Well, I have nothing.
Everything is good in Division 7?
So far, yeah.
Okay. Tim?
I wish I could say everything was great in Division 6, but as I said before, we got spanked with the last rain event and stuff, and other than that, I'm quite happy with the way things have been going as far as our roads and stuff. Our employees are very conscientious, and I told Rod that one of our ratepayers had phoned and said about the gravelers. he said, I have to commend him that he says, I was following them, and every time there would be a vehicle coming, they'd slow right down and would take note of the people around them and stuff, and were very courteous and everything. One thing that I did have, I had one ratepayer that was quite concerned about our CSOs, that they were actually, Donna was running radar, and she was outside the car, and she was running radar by the graders. And this ratepayer, she was watching the grader, and all of a sudden she didn't even see Donna till she just about, well, she didn't hit her, but it was quite close, and she says, why was she even out? And I says, well, for one thing, that it's 60 kilometers around well, I didn't know that. Well, I think that's something that we should maybe try to emphasize with, I believe it's on the back of the graders already, isn't it? There is a sign that's when passing the public works things is up at 60K, isn't it? Well, sure it is. Yeah. So I think it would be a good idea for us to maybe Lee can do some kind of a promotional thing, that just be aware anytime we have any kind of municipal people in slow down, it is the law that you have to be 60K or less to go by them. We care about our employees. We don't want anybody hurt, and we don't want anybody to get hurt. So I think we have to kind of put that front and center too. But no, other than that, I said we're going along, and if we can try to stop a whole bunch of the big rain events, it would be kind of nice.
I think we had the same comment last year about the gravelers, about them being very courteous and slowing down passing vehicles. So that's a good thing that it wasn't just a one-time thing, that they're still doing it. Stephen.
Oh, I'm all good.
Okay, Karen. Pardon me? Nothing going on there. Okay. And I don't think Nicole has signed on yet. No. Okay. Stan.
I said it takes me a while to get fired up, and everybody's patient. Okay, thank you very much. I don't have much. I usually have the wastewater situation. It keeps disappearing on me, but here it comes. Yeah, we're still working forward, and I think Tim mentioned something that was going on about we're moving forward. The big contest we're going to have is storage cell number 3, and he mentioned that might sneak over the budget, and yes, that probably will, but we haven't we've hired somebody to give us a report on whether it be what we should do feasibly with Division 3, whether we should hang on to it. I won't comment at the present time, but it seems like if you don't use it, it's a waste, and I'm not much for that. But anyway, that's going to be a big concern, and that's all tied into the amount of lots that we're going to receive, or the amount of space we're going to have if we don't do something with it, unless the downstream for a 4-season dump is accepted right away. And so that's the trigger on all that kind of stuff. So I'm just telling the planning department to be aware that there's that could happen. I'm not sure. We don't know. So that's why the study's being done, to see which is the feasible way to go. And of course, both shareholders will be notified on what they would like to see, because it's going to affect the both municipalities big time. So that's what we're down to. So as long as everybody's aware that that's what's going to happen, and that's where it could go over budget. But as far as going over the budget for it all depends how you look at that storage cell 3 versus the project that we're on right now. So this would have to be another budget item, I would think, more than working on what we're doing now. Okay. Yeah, on the Sager system. Other than that, I don't know, I could add a little bit to that, but yeah, not really, not right now. Okay.
Do you want to maybe add, because we're hoping for 15,000 is what the projected.
Well, that's what the whole projection was from a long time ago. So, but it depended on this storage cell number 3. And if storage cell number 3 isn't completed, we need a 4-season dump. It's as simple as that. Okay. So
That would be then 6,000, correct?
8.
Stan, we still on schedule for commissioning of the Sagers this September?
I would say yes. They say in the fall, and my comment is fall is 3 months or 4 months. So I would hopefully it should be commissioned in the fall. I would suspect that probably if it's not September, it'll be October. It can't go much later than that because there's the testing that goes on and all that kind of stuff. So we got to watch for that. So they might not let us turn on the tap if it's in the wintertime. So we want to get it done before it gets cold, let's put it that way, so that the Sagers will get activated. It has to have warmer weather to start them off. Okay. So that's what we're looking forward to. Other than that, things are on track. The contractors are up to date. They're in the final stages, and I've talked to a few of them, and they seem to be doing, they're on track. They're all pushing for the fall, commissioning. Like they're not saying everything is there. Okay. And I think they're down to the point now that the weather doesn't really matter that much whether it rains or doesn't rain because the big construction is over. So that, yeah, so like I say, it's just for the construction side, it's going to be just finishing up, that type of thing. That could be done in the spring if it doesn't get done this fall. But the main thing is to have the Sagers done and the electrical system put in. That's the key to the whole thing. Okay. Okay.
Thanks for the update, Stan. Anything else?
But the next thing, if anybody knows how to solve a seepage problem in the storage cell 3 lagoon, please bring it up. I'm open for suggestions. And pardon me. Anyway, that brings you up to date, and that'll probably be the same carrying forward. I don't think you'll see much. You'll have a few more money calls to finish up the project, but some of them I think end up in 26, don't they, Sarah? I don't think they'll all come in this fall.
Cash flow I have is just for 2025.
Just for 25?
25, yeah.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that. I thought because, well, it could change. Well, it won't change.
Yeah, she updates it monthly. So if there was any project delays that we wouldn't be paying until next year, then
right,
the cash flow would reflect it.
Yeah. Okay. Other than that, that's about it.
Anything else in your division, Stan, that you want to bring up?
Not really. Everybody's happy about the rain, but they're not happy about plowing mud. Other than that, I guess that comes with the rain, right?
Thank you. Carmen.
I got a couple of things. First thing, I did send a note about the Fired Up Classic Car Show, huge success. So Lee did a great job, and I think it was 156 vehicles, he said. So I was pleased. He was pleased. He was happy. He even changed his wardrobe twice. He had the pre-show shirt followed by the actual show shirt. I did have one of my ratepayers comment on the changes that were made to the pickleball court and sort of expressing some disappointment, thinking that the pickleball club had not been engaged in it. And so I helped him understand that they had been, and I think he's understanding now. 2175, the culvert. I had sent a note, I think, to Rod and Clark. Harvey's a bit twitchy that it's not going to get done this year, and just want to make sure that it will be done.
Yeah, I believe our contractor is just out of town right now. So, and I think his scope of his contract up there got expanded. So while he was there, so I think Howard's going to be back here in August.
Yeah.
sometime,
So yeah, it was just one of those. He's just twitchy. So antsy, yes. And then the Northern Matin Bridge, I did get an email or a text from the landowner there, and it looks like the mats have been placed so that they're acting as a sound barrier. They've taken testing with decibel levels, and I'm hoping that we have a solution in place and that everybody's happy. So kudos to Rod Ash on that one.
Thank you very much. Okay, down to, pardon me, I have nothing to add. Everything is good in the Reeve world for now. Correspondence was in the package. The fire department calls. It was a very nice letter we got from the Village of Edenwold about the recreation grant, and I know they're very appreciative of that grant. They're, as we all know, they're got a big issue with the old rink to demolish it. So, but they've got other recreation things going there. So it's a was very well appreciated on it. So any comments on the correspondence? Just need a motion to accept correspondence as presented. Karen?
To accept correspondence as presented July 22nd's meeting.
Thank you. Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, looking for a motion to go in camera. Tim?
Make a motion that we go in camera.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. We're now out of camera, and we've covered all the, oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. Councillor Brodt made the motion to come out of camera. And we've covered all the topics on our agenda today, so looking for a motion to adjourn.
No,
Oh,
I want to make a note.
sorry.
I want to make a notice of motion. Notice of motion. I, Tim Brodt, will be bringing forward a motion to deal with a conflict of interest pursuant to Section 144 of the Municipalities Act at that August 12th, at the August 12th, 2025 meeting. Notice of motion. I, Tim Brodt, will be bringing forward a motion to deal with a conflict of interest pursuant to Section 144 of the Municipalities Act at the August 12th, 2025 meeting.
Sorry, Tim. I'm trying to cut you off there. Any other items before we look for adjournment? Stephen?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
All in favor? Motion is carried.